Now that the anime for Tower of God has ended, a lot of you are probably dying to know what happens next, but are not sure about reading the webtoon. In this video, we will be taking a look at some of the differences between the 13-episode anime and the 79 chapters of the webtoon that they were adapted from. There were a lot of things that the anime cut, of course, however, it also added some content as well. So let's begin our journey on the first floor, with our protagonist, Bomb. Starting off with episode 1 of the anime, when Bomb meets Head-On, he says, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Master Bomb." In the webtoon, Bomb introduces himself as the 25th Bomb, stating that his name is based on the day he was born, which means 25th night. If you watch the anime in Japanese, you probably hear them calling him Yoru a lot. This is because it means night in Japanese. This is important for two reasons. One being how in the webtoon, Head-On doesn't know anything about Bomb at all, hence why he asks him what his name is. Based on what we see in the anime, however, it seems as though he was expecting Bomb, having already known his name for whatever reason. I will note though, in the webtoon, Head-On does seem to be aware of Bomb being an irregular, because he said, My, it's been a while since there's been a visitor like you here." Second reason is that this is the only time we learn why Bomb's name is 25th Bomb, and yet it wasn't mentioned in the anime. While it is odd that they didn't include Bomb's full name, it is probably easier for the audience just to refer to him as Bomb. Plus, that's pretty much what all the homies call him anyway. Shortly after this, we come across the next difference. This is a scene that was left out of the anime, but includes Evan chasing Yuri, asking her why she is going to the first floor. She responds by saying that she is aware of an irregular, this being Bomb of course, who has opened the gate to the tower. We then get to see them watching from a distance as Bomb prepares to take on the white steel eel. Yuri seems a bit disappointed, stating that she expected him to be a bit more like Urek Mazuno. For those of you who know who that is, please keep it in your pants. The two continue to discuss the previous irregulars who have entered the tower and further analyze the unlikeliness of Bomb's success during the test. This is until Bomb starts to run towards the gate. Yuri then gets excited and retracts her disappointment, making her way towards Bomb. We only then are brought to the scene where Bomb gets kicked in the face by our beloved princess. We then get some internal dialogue from Evan, where he contemplates what Bomb should do in order to pass the test. Something he brings up when thinking, however, relates to Evan's role as a guide. The role of a guide is something we know almost nothing about in the anime, but in the webtoon, Evan talks about the path and explains his reasoning for not telling Bomb how to pass the test. This being because he believes he is not one who has chosen to walk that path. This is completely disregarded in the anime since he simply says he didn't think Bomb would be able to do it anyways, since most people wouldn't do something so ridiculous. Bomb also talks a little bit more with the Black March in the webtoon, expanding on what Rachel means to him. After Bomb ascends to the testing floor, in the anime we see him wake up in a field. In the webtoon, there is a scene actually before this where Evan discusses with Yuri about the potential changes Bomb will go through as he ascends up the tower, as well as any changes the two of them have gone through in their time together as well. This concludes with Yuri making fun of Evan for still being a midget, but he is from the dwarf race, so it's not because he didn't drink enough milk, like a certain alchemist we know.
You call me little!
Let's move on to the second episode. The first difference in the second episode would be when Kun decides to save Bomb from everyone's favorite alligator, Rock. In the anime, Kun notices the crest of Jihad on the Black March that Bomb was holding, and says he is curious. He then proceeds to combo Rock with a cape toss over the eyes and a sweep kick before hiding behind the member of the Don tribe standing nearby. We also get an additional scene while Kun is interrogating Bomb about the Black March, where Yuri is verbally harassing Evan. In the webtoon, Kun feels bad for Bomb because he looks so fragile, and assumes he will die against the monstrous spear-wielding alligator. He saves Bomb by hitting Rock with his bag and making a run for it. The next few differences are during the scene where Bomb and Kun are hiding from Rock behind some rocks. In the webtoon, this is where Kun interrogates Bomb about the Black March and about his identity. We also get to see a lot more of the thoughts going through Kun's head, showing he was skeptical. When Bomb says that he may not be of much help, Kun says that it is fine and that Bomb would be fun to hang out with. Despite his concerns, he ends up deciding to go up the tower with Bomb. In the anime, Bomb mentions that he's looking for Rachel, and that he belongs to her, and Kun's reaction was pretty much,
Huh?
The next change is probably the biggest change between the anime and the webtoon for Tower of God, and it is that Rock only ate chocolate bars in the anime, not in the webtoon.
Huh?
I know, it's pretty insane. Jokes aside, there were a couple of small differences, such as when Leroro was mentioning Urek Mazuno, and some other regulars when conversing with Bam in the webtoon. And the person who challenged Leroro and got wrecked by Shinsu was some other random side character in the webtoon instead of Levin, who is the one who encountered Rack earlier on. Levin shows up in the final test of the webtoon, but it seems that the anime eliminates him pretty early on. Now it's time for episode 3. We start off the episode with Kun's flashbacks, however this is actually absent in the webtoon. When Bam is talking to Kun about the sky, Kun pretty much disregards it as a silly question in the webtoon, and Rack actually seemed rather quiet instead of laughing his ass off. In the anime, Bam mentions that Rachel wanted to see the stars, to which Kun replies by asking Bam why Rachel left him to climb the tower alone in the first place. He said that it seemed odd to him, which caused Bam to raise his voice slightly to defend Rachel. The importance of this scene being in the anime right after Kun's flashbacks actually shows the audience why Kun would be concerned for the potential of Bam being betrayed, because from what we know, it hits close to home for him. There was an anime exclusive bit when the neon plastic bag guy is giving the trio a hint for the next test. Once again, Kun's past is brought up, resulting in Kun attacking the fluorescent bag man. I also love how Rack is immediately down to back up Kun in a fight. That's why he's best boy! In the webtoon, only once they enter the testing room and see Han Seung-yu does Kun have flashbacks of his past. In the anime, however, Kun has his flashbacks again, but this time he compares the eyes he had when looking at Maria to the eyes Bam has when talking about Rachel. This is further brought to attention when they pass the test thanks to their great leader, Rock. Han Seung-yu asks Kun, "Don't you want to protect those eyes, which don't no doubt?" Almost reading Kun's mind, since Bam reminded him of his past self. Later, Bam asks Kun about what Han Seung-yu was talking about, to which Kun replies by saying he'd rather not talk about it. He also tells Bam that he hopes he can one day see the stars with Rachel, while wondering if he wants to protect Bam's eyes, and that he is the only one who should have to feel doubt. It is evident that Kun shows a lot more concern for Bam in the anime so far, which could be shipping bait, but personally I feel that this is a good way to show why Kun would feel a certain kinship with Bam, despite him being a stranger he knows nothing about. Now, on to episode 4. Episode 4 starts off with Anak, Shibusu, and Hats winning the first round of the crown game, and things play out the same as they did in the webtoon. However, in the webtoon we get to see Kun questioning why Anak chose to sit on the throne, after making the observation that she is probably on a different level of strength than his own team. The anime also had Rock rush to try press the button to join the next round, only to get stopped by Kun, who offered him some chocolate bars so he could chill out. There was a brief scene in the webtoon that was not in the anime, just before Lowry woke up from his nap. I feel that it gives a little bit more of a look into Hatsu's character, since he is mostly about honor, and it even says here that he does not like killing. I believe this meant that he does not like killing an opponent who is unable to fight back, in this case being Lowry since he's asleep. He is making an exception and using his highest flying sword technique because he feels that Lowry sleeping while his teammates are fighting are actions of someone that is trash. The last change from episode 4 was when Kun tossed the duplicated crown for the other contestants to fight over. In the webtoon, instead of fighting amongst each other, they all fought against Kun and Rock, in a decently long fight scene which showcased a bit more of their fighting abilities. This leads us to episode 5, where the crown game continued. In the anime, after Kun reveals the secret of his duplicating bag to the enemy teams, they all attack the throne at the same time, only to be defeated in one blow by Rock. We do get to see Kun pull off some Unlimited Blade Works type shit with his knives to defeat that dual swordsman dude as well, which wasn't in the webtoon. When we cut to Yuri and the gang, in the webtoon there were 2 characters during the scene that were actually nowhere to be seen in the episode. But to be honest, I don't know who these characters were. What was important from the webtoon that was cut out from the scene, however, was when Yuri and Kuridan are talking about the thickness of the Shinsu on the first floor. Kuridan says that when the eels, like the one Bam fought, are nesting, They stay where the concentration of Shinsu is thick, in order to protect their babies from other creatures. This would mean movements of other life forms would be limited. Yuri is surprised by this, saying she met a kid who could run through it without a problem, that being Bam. Kurodan proclaims that if there is anyone who could do that, he would give up his badge. Yuri replies by saying once they meet Bam, Kurodan will have to give up his badge then. This is why we see Yuri giving the badge to Shibisu in episode 12. We also actually get some lines from Kun Hachiling here. In the anime, he had a hood on and did not speak at all. Something I found interesting when looking back to make these comparisons was the scene where Bam has a Shinsu explosion pretty much, and then suddenly prepares to strike down Hwaryun in an effort to avenge his waifu. The Black Marsh has to literally use in order to stop Bam from beating the shit out of the most beautiful women among the Season 1 regulars. According to the man himself, SIU. This entire scene did not occur in the webtoon at all. The only thing the Black March did originally was stop a bullet from hitting Bam. I'm glad they added this scene because we all know Yuri gets the Black March later in episode 12, so if she didn't show up here to help Bam, the only time she would have shown up would have been in the first episode when he fought the White Steel Eel. Episode 6 starts off with Rachel telling Kun about her past with Bam. The difference between this scene in the anime and the webtoon lies mostly within the atmosphere. In the anime, Kun is more defensive of Bam. He even thinks to himself that he knows all about self-indulgent women, and he doesn't want Bam to be near Rachel. This refers to what we saw in episode 3 with Kun's flashbacks regarding Maria. He evidently shows mistrust in Rachel with his tone and body language. In the webtoon, the scene plays out similarly in terms of dialogue until Rachel asks Kun if he's aware of the legend of the top of the tower. Since this was not included, it changes the scene quite a bit since we get to see Rachel talk about why she wants to climb the tower, speaking in detail about her dream to see the stars. At first glance this may not seem so important since just about every anime watcher and their grandma knows that Rachel wants to see the damn stars. What makes this important is that the person she's talking to is Kun, who arguably is the closest ally Bam has right now. The atmosphere in the webtoon is so chill that Rachel even casually asks Kun if she could help herself to one of Rak's bananas. This connects even further to the biggest change that could possibly change the fate of the tower, and that is that Rak actually eats bananas in the webtoon, but eats chocolate bars in the anime. There is an actual reason behind this, but we will touch upon it a little bit later. In the webtoon, there's an extra part to the conversation between Anak and Endorsi, where Anak asks Endorsi about Rachel. She responds by saying she does not know Rachel, but feels that she is like someone who's lived in a different world. These scenes being cut from the anime may have been just to save time, however they add a bit more presence to Rachel's character rather than just her hiding away in her room, eating all of Rak's chocolate bars. We then get to the positioning test, which Laroro explains to the regulars about the different roles, such as Fisherman, Spearbearer, Lightbearer, Scout, and Wave Controller, just like he did in the webtoon. One thing the anime did not show us, however, was the list showing which regulars were chosen for what position, including the title Best Seed, which is explained by Laroro as the individuals who performed the best during the tests. For the Lightbearers, we have Rachel and Kun. For the Spearbearers, we have no Best Seeds, but let's face it, Rak should have gotten this title. The Fisherman role had Anak, and the Scouts had Shibisu. Lastly, the Wave Controllers had no Best Seed. The numbers next to the position show how many of the members from that position will be chosen, allowing them to ascend up the tower. Now let's take a look at our beloved protagonist, Bam. In the anime, when Bam wakes up, he changes clothes and heads to the front of Rachel's room, all while thinking to himself. In his head, he asks Rachel why he can't be with her, and if she's that desperate to see the stars. It was followed by Kun also thinking to himself that he will lie as many times as it takes to prevent Bam from going through the same thing that he went through. We also get an entirely anime original scene of Kun and Rak encouraging Bam to grow stronger so that Rachel will want to climb the tower with him. On the other hand, in the webtoon, Bam has a slightly different mindset when reflecting on why he can't be with Rachel. He thinks about the stars in the sky, thinking that he cares more about Rachel than those stupid things. Also, while thinking all of this, Bam is seen going straight to class with a new look in his eyes, instead of moping around Rachel's room. In the anime, this determination we see in Bam as he moves forward on his own is replaced with more support from his new buddies, more so with Kun. After Bam forms a contract with the administrator, in the anime he runs after Hwaryun and apologizes for injuring her. There is also a scene where Anak is walking past the group dining. and she's holding the black marsh. She notices Bam glancing at it and tells him she isn't gonna give it back, to which Bam replies with saying it's fine, since he lost the bet, and that he would have to apologize to Yuri once they meet again. Anak did walk by the table in the webtoon as well, however she was not holding the black march, so this interaction did not happen. The final change from episode 6 was Anak's backstory. In the webtoon we get to see Anak and her mother having an actual conversation. The way it was portrayed in the anime didn't quite give enough time to really hit the feels. Instead, Anak's just like, yeah, my mom married this dude who makes the best chicken pies, and yeah. Episode 7 had a few changes, but not as much as compared to the previous episodes. First off, when Lowry loses his pillow to Serena, Bam goes above and beyond to get him a bag full of beans as a replacement. He even offers to wash the pillow for Lowry in the meantime. This much detail was not given to the scene in the webtoon, as it simply explained that Lowry owed Bam because Bam found his pillow. This type of scene is similar to what we've seen in the anime before, like with Bam apologizing to Hwaryun. It may appear that they're trying to make Bam look even more like a cinnamon roll, but fleshing out these kind of moments helps us see the connection Bam has with the other regulars a bit more. This becomes a lot more important in solidifying the bonds that these characters have with Bam when they assume he is dead during the finale. Another example of this is when Bam and Kun are discussing the plan to befriend the two princesses of Jihad. In the anime, Shibusu and Hats accompany Bam when trying to befriend Anak and Endorsi, which lets us see more interactions with these characters than we got in the webtoon version of the scene. The anime even adds an extra bonus scene where Kun is teasing Hats. In the webtoon, Bam goes to Endorsi's room by himself, but instead of holding the food, he has it on a rope and pulley system. This results in Bam getting overwhelmed by Endorsi and letting go of the rope, causing the food to hit them both on the head. With Anak, we have the exact same rope and pulley situation, but this time it's Shibusu who is all by himself. Episode 8 starts off with the hide-and-seek test. The anime seems to have added some scenes with Endorsi conversing with Bam about Rachel at two separate points during the episode, as they observe Team A's attempt at the test. Also, that scene with Rock and Akuryun having a chocolate bar eating competition was an anime-only scene. Anyways, back to the test. Something many of you might have noticed is that Kun is not using his magic bag during the test. In the webtoon, Kun does have the bag with him, which leads Quant to demand that he open the bag, thinking that Kun was hiding Anak in there. To clear this suspicion, Kun confirms with Han Sung-yu that the IT tag cannot be compressed into the bag. In the webtoon, when Quant eventually decided to jump off with Kun, he seemed focused on the fact that Kun was from one of the 10 great families, which was provoked by Kun saying that Quant was not from one of the 10 families, so he would not survive the jump. This kind of provocation is important to understand why Quant was so easily fooled by Kun. Kun knows that Quant is bad at controlling his temper, so using the Kun family name, he was able to effectively push Quant to that breaking point. The anime does give us a cute little chant from Kun though. Again, going back to the webtoon, after Han Sung-yu explains to Leroro about why Kun chose to help Quant sabotage his own team, he gives a quote that is very important to the overall theme of climbing the tower. He says, "Don't you think it's ironic? Those who came here to attain something precious to them are giving up on their dreams just to move up the tower. That's how we are. Just like when you want to climb a higher mountain, you have to leave your heavy burdens behind and move on. We have to give things up as we go higher in the tower." We know nothing about Han Sung-yu, but given his use of the quote and his status as a ranker, I'm certain it comes with his experiences. He then proceeds to say Kun knows this well and praises him, but at the same time he was a little creepy by saying he wanted to break Kun into pieces. We also get some extra dialogue among the other test instructors, which leads us to Team B taking the test. In episode 9, when Endorsi starts beating up their two teammates, one of the teammates was a different character in the anime, but in the webtoon it was a guy named Des Leon. This character tried to attack Bam when Bam chose to stand in front of him when telling Endorsi not to attack her teammates. This results in Endorsi punching Des Leon in the chest. The only real important change in the scene is when Bam takes an attack meant for Endorsi. In the anime he says that he can't betray people in order to climb the tower, also stating that he doesn't want Rachel to do that either.
Ironic.
Endorsi tells Bam that that isn't what Rachel wants, and Bam apparently knows this, but he wants to protect her anyways. In the webtoon, Bam says a quite lengthy quote. Allow me to read it for you. Why do we have to fight even though we don't hate each other? I don't get it. You're right, Miss Dorsey. I'm not hard enough to climb the tower by hurting others. I'm not capable of it. These people, they're the first group I've ever called friends. Everything precious to me is here. If we reach the top using our friends as stepping stones, what remains for us at the top? Are the stars that beautiful? Why does everyone say something that they've never seen before is more beautiful than what they've got? I just don't get it. I don't want to hurt my friends over things like that. If I have to fight, I'll fight to protect what's meaningful to me. This is an amazing quote from Bomb, and I wish I got to hear it in the anime, because it shows just how pure Bomb's heart really is. Everyone is climbing the tower for something, whether it be power, money, revenge, and etc. Bomb just wants to be with Rachel initially, but this changes as he meets more precious people to him, such as Kun, Rock, and the others. The next change was when Quant takes out the two-spear revolutionary dudes who betrayed Hats. In the webtoon, this doesn't happen because the two of them show up at the end of the test when Ho has Rachel held hostage. They kidnap Serena and some other character who I can't remember. Pericule and Mauchi tell Ho to use Rachel in order to distract Quant. This plan of course fails because Bomb, like in the anime, rescues Rachel from Ho, and Quant easily takes out Pericule and Mauchi. The major difference in the anime was that Rachel got stabbed, because this did not happen in the webtoon. Rachel got away with barely a scratch. This is also why Bomb was able to run to Ho when he suicided in the webtoon. In the anime, Rachel's life was also assumed to be in danger since she was stabbed, so of course Bam wouldn't leave her side to run to Ho. I will bring up Rachel being stabbed when we get to episode 12 later on in the video, but Bam also seemed considerably more upset with Ho's suicide in the webtoon, even asking why everyone is always leaving him. We also get to see in the webtoon that Quant was thinking about the whole situation with Ho and Bomb. He compared Bomb wanting to be friends with everyone as he climbed the tower to a baby tiger running with house cats. This truly foreshadows a lot about Bomb's growth as a character in comparison to the other characters. Episode 10 starts off with Kun thinking about the things he did in order to find out who gave the note to Ho and what he was planning. Webtoon had a few more details in these scenes, such as when Kun was talking to Hwaryun, she smacked a drink machine in order to fix it. She even made Kun pay for her drink, because she's the one who fixed the machine in the first place. And she breaks the fourth wall by saying that they're in a comic. Of course, smacking the machine would fix it. Kun ended up getting his hand swollen from smacking the machine though. Kun then asks her about her eye, and she joked saying that she'd feel better if she turned Bomb into a Cyclops. This bit of dialogue may have been small, but it adds to Hwaryun's character quite a bit, considering she doesn't have many lines to begin with. She then warns Kun about Ho, just as she did in the anime. He also bribed Ho's neighbor, Full Black, in order to find out if Ho did anything odd. After finding the note in Ho's room, he also told Rachel that her life was in danger. Rachel responds to this by telling Kun not to tell Bomb about this so that he wouldn't get hurt. Determined to find a way for Rachel and Bomb to pass without getting hurt, Kun asked Dorsey for help. Dorsey was reluctant, but Kun said he would help her with her business if she helped. To recruit Lowry, Kun was under the same blanket with Lowry while creepily whispering for Lowry to join him. Apparently Lowry can't sleep with someone in his blanket, so he accepted so Kun would leave him alone. Plus he was already invested in Bomb's talents as a Shinsu user and wave controller. In the anime, when we see Kun talking with Chibi Rock, the webtoon had a few scenes before this, of Kun briefly talking to Dorsey about the test over a meal, as well as Shibisu giving Kun a drink. This then leads us to a conversation with Rock as well. However, in the webtoon, Kun brings up Maria. This is the first time he's talked to another character about Maria, so it's surprising that this was cut from the anime given how important it is to Kun's character. He talks about how Maria was a kind girl and he believed she deserved to be by the king's side and be happy. After giving her the title of princess, however, Kun said that he said something in his heart felt missing. He tried to find that something by going up the tower and by watching Rachel and Bomb. Despite being reluctant to having the two meet, he helped Rachel with the hopes of making Bomb keep wanting to climb up the tower. He was let down when nothing had changed. Rock then gives Kun a lecture, criticizing the choices he made with Maria. He even goes as far as to tell Kun that what he lost that day was his banana. Given that Rock also said this about Bomb earlier, we can already assume what he meant by banana, and that is why I kept bringing up the chocolate bars in this video. Because this whole time it was actually a censorship. It was all a plot to prevent these banana jokes. Anyways, when Bam enters the room, the scene plays out pretty much the same in both the anime and the webtoon. In the anime, we then cut to Ho's funeral, but in the webtoon we're given a scene with Bam, Kun, and Rock strategizing how they are going to climb the tower. During this strategy meeting, they decide that they must gather people they trust in order to climb up the tower, and most importantly, that Rock is their leader. After this, the anime has two scenes that only occurred in the anime. The first being Bam and Rachel talking outside, which adds a lot more impact to what happens in the final episodes. I will touch on this later, so don't forget it. The second scene is when Serena dropped out of the test. She was a great character and I really liked her dynamic with Shibisu, so I'm really glad they added this scene. Plus she literally just got everyone drunk and dipped, totally something she would do. Besides an extra fan service shot of Leroro and Quant in towels, the webtoon also includes a scene about Bam telling Endorsi why Rachel means so much to him, which probably just rubbed salt in her wounds. In the anime, Leroro enters Han Sang-yu's office, and we witness his bowl crack. This happens in the webtoon as well, however there's a conversation that the two of them have which was not shown in the anime. They discuss the possibility of there being someone among the regulars having the potential to shake the tower, like that of Urakamizuno or Fentaminum. We even get to hear mention of Urakamizuno's organization, Wolhaik Song, an organization so powerful that even the great families fear them. Also revealed that the purpose of the regulars taking the test is to weed out those who pose a threat to the tower, and to keep them from continuing to go up. Han Sang-yu compares this to a seawall preventing a tsunami, but Leroro disagrees with this ideology. He says a sea without waves is no longer a sea, it is just a pond. He believes that rather than slowly facing decay, it would be better to live fighting the waves. Han Sang-yu pretty much responds by saying, "Well buddy, if you don't like it, you can quit your job then." The next change is after everyone finds out Bam is an irregular. When Kun and Rock are pretending to fight in the anime, Shibisu and the rest of the group call them out for their bad acting, except Hats, who didn't know anything at all. They all agree not to abandon Bam, but Anak says she just wants to get the tests over with as fast as possible. In the webtoon, no one is actually aware that Kun was acting, except for Rock. Kun even says that he doesn't want to get kicked out of the family. After headbutting Kun and delivering his lines, Rock walks away. Anak even says she'd rather go with Bam up the tower than stick with a traitor who betrays his friend for his family name. Hats comments on how they agree on something for once, and they both leave while dragging Shibisu along with them. Everyone ends up leaving after that, and Kun just sits there alone. Rock then comes back later and calls Kun a sneaky turtle. Episode 11 starts off with Bam finishing off his conversation with the administrator before meeting with Han Sang-yu and Rachel. However, in the webtoon, there is a game-changing conversation between Bam and Han Sang-yu. Han Sang-yu first asks Bam if he got permission to take the test, and Bam says yes. Han Sang can't believe that Bam would do this for just some girl, and claims that Bam must be out of his mind. He proceeds to reveal the truth, that he knew he was an irregular from the beginning, and the relationship between him and Rachel. He doesn't stop there. He even tells Bam that everything that occurred during the previous tests were all according to his keikaku. Of course, Bam questions Han Sang and calls him a terrible person, but the director simply states that Bam is dangerous, and he thinks he is insane. To drive the nail in further, he says to Bam that no one in the tower would want someone like him there. Bam then asks the director what is up at the top of the tower. He responds by saying everything in the world and more than that exists at the top, but not Rachel. He tells Bam that ugly girl's absence doesn't change anything, but Bam is able to quickly reply. He says that without Rachel, everything at the top is meaningless, and that he may think of him as insane, but to Bam, Han Sang is the one who just hasn't found anything he cherishes yet, among all the garbage in the tower. There's some strong and, dare I say, fighting words from Bam. He ends the conversation by saying that he will make it to the top of the tower, and what he wants must be up there. This scene makes me question so much, because despite how defiant Bam sounded during the scene, he does nothing with this information. He tells no one, and he does not seem skeptical now that he knows what Han Sang-yu has done. This may be why it was cut from the anime, since it would not make any sense. He was pretty much told by the puppet master himself that he was just getting his strings pulled the whole time, but he still continues to fall for the trap laid by Han Sang-yu. Only after the scene do we get Ho's funeral in the webtoon. However, it's a brief scene with no dialogue, and all the characters were wearing suits. Next, the anime dives right into the start of the submerged fish hunt test. By going straight to the test, the anime has already skipped a bunch of scenes such as Bam doing combat training with Endorsi, or Rock throwing spears with Alexei, or Kun and Shibisu having a strategy meeting. These would have been some nice scenes to see before the final test, especially Bomb training with Endorsi, although, to be honest, he didn't really need to train to stand inside a Shinsu bubble with Rachel for the entire test. Let's get to the test. The first difference was when Kancho and Blas Rouge were killed by the bull. In the webtoon this does not happen.
Hold it!
Apparently I was wrong, because when I looked back at episode 13 after editing this video, I noticed that Blas Rouge and Kancho are actually still alive. They were actually there at the end with the rest of the squad, but I honestly thought they died to the bull, so this is a bit surprising. Well, anyways, encountering the bull, Shibusu had the knife that Serena left with him before she dropped out. He used it to attack the bull and actually managed to stab it. In the webtoon, Shibusu did not have any weapons with him, but he managed to kick the bull in the balls, to no effect. Later on, when Anak is looking for the bull, she runs into Ren, who shows her mother's necklace. In the anime, it is assumed he is the one who killed Anak's mother, hence why he has the necklace, but in the webtoon he straight up just tells her, "I killed your mother." The fight between the two was also somewhat different in both forms of media. In the anime, it was relatively short since Ren just had to dodge a few attacks, then stab Anak with his tongue. In the webtoon, Anak was able to ignite the green apple, and the attacks Ren were using also were looking quite unique. The end result still ended up being Anak getting stabbed by what appears to be a horn. When Lauri is destroying the tunnels with the help of Sanwoo, the webtoon also differed in this scene because Hong Chunghwa is present. Remember the guy Endorsi beat up and stole his sword? Next up we have the scene where Paracule almost ruined everything again by throwing his spear too early. In the anime he actually did it to kill one of the goblins who spotted Huts. He even seemed apologetic, but in the webtoon he didn't want to fail if Bomb and Rachel got caught, so he threw the spear randomly at the crowd of goblins, killing absolutely nothing. He had the audacity to also tell Rock that he told him to throw it. Going back to Ren and Anak, the bull brings Endorsi to the scene, and Ren tells Endorsi to prove her loyalty as a princess of Jihad by killing Anak. This brings us to the infamous episode 12. In the webtoon, as Endorsi is approaching Anak, green April in hand, she has a flashback. This flashback takes place when she was training with Bomb. Endorsi asks Bomb why he wasted his points to become her friend, and Bomb replies by saying he hates being lonely, or others being lonely. Endorsi says that she likes being alone, so Bomb asks if she feels lonely when they are together, but she says no, not when she is with Bomb. Bomb gives her a smile and says, "That's a relief, you're not alone anymore," then suggests that they get food since he's hungry. Endorsi agrees. This scene, in connection to those training scenes I mentioned that were removed earlier, are important, I feel, for showing Endorsi's trust in others and the start of her valuing friendships. It's this very memory which causes her to tell Anak to have food with her after the test. Another small thing to note was that in the webtoon, Akryung and Levin were both shown during the fish hunt test, but not in the anime. In the anime, Akryung disappeared when Rachel got stabbed, and Levin failed earlier on, as I mentioned when talking about episode 2. Now on to a character many of you anime-onlys are probably wondering about, Hatchling. When he showed up, Kun didn't even turn around, nor did he seem too alarmed. This was the opposite in the webtoon. Kun was shocked and yelled, "Who are you?" Hatchling proceeded to hack into Kun's lighthouse without his permission and started to look for his teammates, all while Kun was barraging him with questions. He starts to communicate with those two characters I mentioned when talking about episode 5, once again who are nowhere to be seen in the anime. Before leaving, he confirms to be part of the Kun family, but an outcast, just like he did in the anime. However, he also shows Kun a pin he was wearing. This pin is the symbol of the Wolhaik-song, which is mentioned in the webtoon earlier, making him part of Urakmazeno's group. He even calls Kun his brother before leaving his lighthouse. As he's walking outside of the lighthouse, Hatchling's last thoughts towards Kun was that he was cute, while Kun, on the other hand, thought of Hatchling as a psycho. In the anime, they are briefly talking outside the lighthouse, and Hatchling offers to take Kun to see Maria. Kun refuses, saying he isn't climbing the tower for Maria, and that he plans on rising higher than the Kun family. Hatchling teases him by saying that's a big dream for someone too scared to even pull a knife on him, which he did actually do in the webtoon. Huts then shows up and attempts to attack Hatchling. Huts apparently showed up because he questioned Kun, telling everyone earlier that he was tired. He asked Kun if he was the type of man who rests while his friends fight, which is a nice scene to see given how we know these two don't get along normally. After Kurodan defeats Ren, in the webtoon there is an additional bit of dialogue where Yuri even threatens Hansung Yu, saying she will kill him next, which Hansung even admitted to be a bit scary. We even get some dialogue between Yuri and Endorsi, where Yuri asks her if she thinks Bomb will pass the test. Endorsi replies by saying Bomb will survive because she promised to go on a date with him if he comes back alive. Yuri didn't seem too happy about that. In the anime, Endorsi says that Bomb will definitely pass, and Anak says that they must all pass the test together. Shibisu even states that Bomb is the type of guy who always gets it done. The way Bomb defeats the bull was changed as well. In the webtoon, Bomb is able to defeat the bull by aiming a strong beam of Shinsu into its mouth. In the anime, Bomb actually gets eaten by the bull and attacks it from the inside. Kind of like how he passed the very first test. After the bull explodes, Rachel catches him, and then we all know what happens next. One of the top betrayals in anime of all time. Episode 13 is a very interesting episode, especially for this type of video. The reason for this is episode 13 is the only episode that is entirely original content, or so to speak. As webtoon readers, none of us knew exactly what was going on in Rachel's mind during a lot of the scenes in the first 79 chapters. Rachel, from my perspective, was a character that did deserve the hate they got, but at that point in the webtoon, I still didn't understand why she did what she did. I was pretty much still like Bomb at that point, asking why? Why would Rachel do this? How can someone who shone like a star in Bomb's eyes be capable of such betrayal? The anime was able to answer that for me. The webtoon only really shows us Rachel's side of the story up until she meets Heidon and makes a deal with him. In the webtoon, we only know that Rachel made a deal with him, but not the details of that deal. In the anime, this deal was for Rachel to kill Bomb, and only then would she be allowed to climb the tower. Heidon also referred to Bomb as Rachel's savior, which really upset her. He also explained that Akureyong was her bodyguard and that she would be given one chance to get resurrected, which is what we saw in episode 9. Made this episode so special was that we got to see scenes where Rachel showed up in the anime again. However, this time we get to hear what was going on inside her head during these scenes. We saw that during the crown game she told Endorsi it was fine to kill everyone, even though Bomb was there, because she had hoped someone else would kill Bomb, since she was unable to bring herself to do it. There is also a bonus scene of Han Sang-yu and Hwaryun talking about how Bomb is the one they want, while Rachel is simply just bait. As she touches Bomb's face while talking to Kun, she's even thinking about killing him. All those times alone in her room, she was just steeling herself and trying to muster up the courage to do it, knife in hand. She stopped spending on points because she was afraid she wouldn't be able to go up the tower if she didn't kill Bomb. Instead of feeling happy for Bomb getting friends, she got jealous and stated he was taking everything she wanted. Hwaryun tells her to go along with the confusion with the whole Ho situation during the hide-and-seek test. She was told not to misread the signs, and that is why she went with Ho when he called her. She even struggled and got stabbed by Ho, which, as I mentioned earlier, was something that did not happen in the webtoon. She considered this as a part of the plan, until she got the opportunity to kill Bomb. Even after they spoke outside, she was constantly thinking in her head that Bomb should run, because she would actually kill him. She felt nothing from the warm words Bomb offered her. She admitted she was jealous, and that she hated him. While in the Shinsu bubble with Bomb, she had already decided that she had to do it. Bomb told her that he imagined that he would be with her, which caused her to think in the possibility that they could climb up the tower together. In the webtoon, Rachel told him he has not changed at all. Bomb responds by saying he has, thanks to the people he has met, and even lost since entering the tower. Rachel tells him that he cries a lot and that he is still a wuss, to which he replies by saying he has gotten stronger and even got some muscle. Rachel then says she is sorry, just before the bull attacks them. Going back to the anime, Rachel thinks about how Bomb is the only one who looks at her like she's special. When Bomb tells Rachel that the administrator asked him what he wanted at the top of the tower, he told her that he first pictured her, the second thing being the cafeteria, referring to the new friends that he's made in the tower. This struck something in Rachel, since she realized that Bomb was the one who was the star all along, shining and bringing everyone together. He was what she was striving to become, a star. This theme of wanting to become a star was not something touched on in the webtoon, since it is still very vague why Rachel wants to see the stars to begin with. In the anime, seeing her jealousy and hatred towards Bomb and these exclusive bits of monologue helped the audience see what truly is going on in Rachel's mind and what is driving her. She realizes that she is unable to climb with Bam when she realizes that she will never experience the miracle of Shinsu or become a star, unless she takes Bam's place. This changes the perspective most might have on her character, and I would even go far as to say that it's a huge reason why I think anime-onlys would probably hate Rachel's character more than the people who have been reading the webtoon. Up until this point, at least. I am also one of those people that consider Rachel as a turtle for many more reasons than what we've seen so far. But when I first read the first 79 chapters of the webtoon, I was still not sure why she did what she did. The difference between my experience and that of someone who has only experienced Rachel's betrayal through the anime is that we are immediately given a look into Rachel's brain and muddy heart, in order to see why she would betray Bam like she did. Her path, as Evan would have put it, is one that Bam would not take, because it involves using friends as stepping stones. One thing that wasn't shown in the anime, however, is when Hwaryun asks her why she wants to see the star so badly. Rachel says it is because she is afraid of the night. One thing to note here is that Bam's name, like I mentioned before, literally means night in Korean. There's a very clever usage of the meaning here by SIU, since Hwaryun then says, "It's time to meet Bam, who lost his star." Bam being the night sky, and Rachel being the star. When the regulars are all about to leave the testing floor, something that was not in the anime was when Han Sung-yu gave everyone a ring to commemorate their graduation from the floor. This is something that is important for later on in the story, so I'm not sure why it was left out. Anyways, let's talk about Kun in the anime during this scene. He straight up tells Rachel that she doesn't know how much Bam cared about her, and that he wishes he met Bam before she did. Rachel does an evil little smile and says that she sees that Bam was loved. I really love this scene because at this point all of Bam's friends assume he is dead, even Kun. Despite this, Kun's bond with Bam, which was forged in these 13 episodes, makes this line hit so much harder. If Kun did meet Bam first, he would not have been chasing after Rachel, he would not have gotten betrayed. But then we wouldn't get the amazing story that is to come. Looking at the scene where Hwaryun goes to retrieve Bam, in the webtoon there isn't too much dialogue, mostly because Bam is barely alive at this point. The poor guy's bleeding out on the floor. The only thing Bam says is basically questioning why Rachel betrayed him. Hwaryun tells him he can find the answer to that by going up the tower. So, in the anime, Bam and Hwaryun actually have quite a bit of dialogue with each other. Hwaryun questions Bam, asking him what about the tower drove Rachel and him mad, offering to give him the answers and train him. Bam was able to get the strength to stand up and say that there were no answers at the top of the tower, but he was going to climb in order to find them and decide them. This is followed by Hwaryun saying, "Yokoso." Welcoming not just him, but all of us, as we follow Bam on this journey up the Tower of God. What did you guys think about the differences between the webtoon and the anime for Tower of God? Will you read the webtoon from chapter 80, or will you wait for season 2 of the anime? I'm sure you've heard this many times already, but these 79 chapters, or 13 episodes, have only just scratched the surface of the introduction to Tower of God. I hope you're just as excited as I am to see what the tower has in store for our beloved characters in season 2. Also, please no webtoon spoilers in the comments, because that's something Rachel would do, and you don't want to be a Rachel. Also, I am curious, who are your favorite characters that have been shown in the anime so far? Leave a comment down below, and if you liked the video, consider leaving a like and subscribe to join my new empire. Anyways, I've been Dancho, and remember to keep moving forward.